Welcome. Welcome to the Lifestyle Recovery Education Program. This is Learning Module 1 of 5, Readiness for Change. This course is the first course in the 5-part series designed to support those living a divided life and are looking to feel whole again. Any individual seeking personal transformation, including those navigating trauma or chronic stress, are welcome to take this workshop. Personal transformation is often hindered because there are critical areas of life that shape our growth, and these areas are often overlooked. Without addressing these areas, it's difficult to find meaning and live a purposeful life. Therefore, this program guides individuals through these areas. These include readiness for change, timeline development, nutrition for brain health, spiritual nutrition, and the success formula. What is the readiness for change model? The Readiness for Change model is a framework that helps you reconnect with your greatest self and transform your perspective on life. It is not about changing who you are. No, that would invalidate your very being, and who am I to say who you can and can't be? It's all about providing you with practical tools such as key concepts, worksheets, reflections, and activities that will help you recognize your readiness level. Understanding where you are and who you are, and from there, using that awareness to build the self-determination that is needed to make successful changes. Once you understand where you are on your journey, you'll be able to envision your path more clearly, make the necessary changes required to fulfill your life's purpose, and experience your life from a place of peace and love. Thus, the goal here in this course is to say bye-bye to Struggleville and say hello to your awakening. So, who am I? I'm your instructor, Dr. Jasmine Blake Hollywood, and I'm excited you are here and ready to engage in this next level of transformation. So let us start by introducing ourselves. I know who you are. You are me. That's why you came to me. But what are my qualifications? What makes me the person to facilitate this teaching? Well, I am the founder of True Paleo Inc. and the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Integrative Nutrition. I am the author of 4 peer-reviewed case reports on lifestyle recovery and trauma, and author of 27 peer-reviewed systematic literature and commentary reviews. I am a doctor of clinical nutrition with a board-certified nutrition specialist and licensed dietitian nutritionist certifications and licensure. I'm also a doctor of metaphysical humanistic sciences and a certified recovery peer specialist and certified ordained minister. So how much experience do I have? Well, I have more than 10 years of education under my belt in just nutrition and integrative health. 5 years of medical nutrition therapy fieldwork, and of course, over 17 years of personal experience in spiritual and nutritional healing remedies. So let's get to it. Stages of change. Let us begin. The first concept needed to embrace transformation is understanding the stages of change. And we do that by learning what is the trans-theoretical model. The trans-theoretical model short TTM, describes the stages and processes individuals go through when intentionally changing behavior. There are 6 stages of change, and they have demonstrated efficacy in modifying behaviors for successful transformation across many domains, including nutrition interventions, physical activity promotion, interventions addressing mental health disorders such as depression and alcohol, among others. The first 5 stages are pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. It is an essential tool for transforming because it acknowledges the complexity of behavior change, guiding self-directed intervention strategies such as nutrition and spiritual rehabilitation and general lifestyle recovery. It promotes self-awareness and facilitates long-term maintenance of change. So let us dive into the processes of change. The first stage is the pre-contemplation stage, and in this stage, individuals are not considering change. They are not considering dietary changes, physical activity, self-care, lifestyle change, leaving behind toxic relationships, or stopping substance use. Nor are they considering accepting any ailments they've been diagnosed with or housing statuses for those that may be facing housing crisis. They are not considering general wellness or viewing quality of their life, right, as being even relevant in their lives. They may not recognize the importance of a nutrition-based lifestyle recovery or its impact on their overall well-being. And lastly, the concept of a spiritual relationship with food and a personal existence may not even be on their radar. In the second stage of change, the contemplation stage, individuals are beginning to recognize the importance of change. They may recognize that nutrition, physical activity, self-care, and lifestyle change are of significance, and may see the value in leaving behind toxic relationships or stopping the use of substances. They may start to realize the importance of accepting the ailments they've been diagnosed with, or for those facing housing crisis, accepting their current status. In this stage, they begin to understand the implications of their current lifestyle, but may still be hesitant to commit to making changes, which is perfectly fine. They may start exploring general wellness and how it affects quality of life. And lastly, they may posit the idea of a spiritual relationship with food and acknowledge their spiritual existence. In the third stage of change, the preparation stage, individuals are mentally and physically preparing to adopt those changes. And these can be any types of lifestyle modifications to include dietary changes, physical activity, self-care practices, or even general lifestyle change. Here, they are preparing to leave behind toxic relationships and, if applicable, quitting substance use. They may explore their mental health or physical diagnoses and be actively looking for stable housing options if housing crisis is a factor. They may even seek nutrition-based or spiritual education. They may start incorporating sporadic healthy eating habits, occasional exercise routines, or even self-care practices into their lives. They may begin to reconsider finding new supportive relationships and reach out to friends and family. Furthermore, in this stage, they are getting ready to explore the spiritual relationship of food and their personal connection in existence. And here they're beginning to understand impact on general well-being and quality of life. In the fourth stage of change, the action stage, individuals are actively engaged in making their lifestyle changes. These can be any change ranging from small, singular changes, such as dietary changes, to larger changes like participating in regular physical activity or multiple changes at one time. In this stage, they could be actively engaged in practicing new self-care techniques and actively refusing to be involved in toxic relationships while simultaneously building new relationships. They will actively refuse to indulge in substances, actively manage their mental and physical ailments, seek stable housing for those in these types of situations, and are adopting a nutrition-based lifestyle that prioritizes health on a continual basis. They are actively seeking information about nutrition and spiritual-based practices and the effects they have on cognitive function and emotional well-being. They are also exploring the spiritual aspect of food and their connection with all things in existence. In the fifth stage of change, the maintenance stage, individuals have successfully integrated lifestyle change techniques. These can include any method of improvement, such as dietary changes, physical activity, or self-care practices. They have built new relationships, completely stopped the use of substances, improved their mental and physical health conditions, and have found stable housing. They know the spiritual connection of food and practice it with gratitude. They have established sustainable habits that support their overall well-being, have improved quality of life, and are committed to maintaining these behaviors, long-term, of course. They have developed a deep understanding of the spiritual relationship connected with the divine source. However, to be in the maintenance stage, they must have incorporated these things into their daily lives for a minimum of 6 months or more. And so some people can make it to the maintenance stage with just one change, but to make it to the maintenance stage with all changes, now that's something. But it's possible. The sixth stage of change is known as the relapse stage. We do not usually emphasize this stage because our goal really here is to teach sustainability, not relapse. However, if a relapse does occur, we basically just encourage a strong reboot. Start again from the beginning and move through the stages once more. Ultimately, the goal is to shift your perspective so you are at peace, a place where relapse becomes unlikely because your choices are coming from spiritual alignment and not from a place of struggle. So if you relapse, start again until you maintain spiritual alignment. And this includes being in relationships, right? So we can relapse and falter back into really bad relationships and become abused again and not realize what is going on, right? So that will keep us down and that will keep us engaged in these other practices that we don't want to be in. So we definitely want to get back out of that and stay out of that. Stages of change worksheets. In this course, we are going to provide a series of worksheets that will enable people to understand their readiness for change level. Starting with, am I at readiness level 1? Stage 1, pre-contemplation, helps you understand that if you find yourself ignoring or denying a problem that is keeping you from leading a healthier, more balanced lifestyle, then you may be in the pre-contemplation stage. It is essential to understand that at this stage, you are not yet considering making a change. It's not even in your head. You might say things like, I'm fine where I'm at, even if deep down inside, you feel like your life isn't aligned with your goals or well-being. And so often this involves telling yourself these things about your diet or your physical activity, about relationships that you're in, substances that you're using. And you'll be telling yourself these things that are not true. You'll be saying that I'm fine, I'm under control, the people I hang around with are cool. You'll be denying these very things. So the real insight here is that you are talking yourself out of moving forward, basically, right? So you're talking yourself out of it, not me, not anyone else, you, right? By sticking up for these people or continuing to do these things. So what are you saying to yourself or about these things that's really preventing you from moving forward? And this is what this worksheet is for. Examples are, I don't have a car, so I can't get there. I don't have the money to pay for it. There is no contact information, so I can't fix it. They said it doesn't work or it's not possible. So you can use this sheet to document some of the things that you catch yourself saying that may be preventing you from having a different outlook or even moving forward. Remember, there's always a way forward. Always. Am I at readiness level 2? Stage 2, contemplation. How do I know if I'm in this stage? Well, you'll know if you're in this stage if you are considering making changes and you're not in denial. So answer the following questions if you're in stage 2. Why should or shouldn't you make positive changes to alleviate this or the problems that you're facing? And what is it that you fear will happen if you seek change, right? What is preventing you from moving forward? Like, what are you afraid of, right? You need to understand your fears if you're going to really start doing what you want to do in life. Am I at readiness level 3? Stage 3, preparation. You'll know if you're in this stage if you are preparing to make changes. What challenges do you need to overcome? What steps should you take to make the change? How will you manage your fears and uncertainty? Right? So you cannot be at this level if you don't even know what your fears are. So this is going to really help determine if you're in stage 1, 2, or 3. Am I at readiness level 4? Stage 4 is the action stage, okay? You'll know if you're in this stage if you are actively doing things to make a difference. Describe your plan of action. What challenges do you expect to face? What is your supporting system? Is it friends? Is it family? Who is it? And what will you do if you encounter roadblocks or obstacles, right? Because we have to be realistic in life. We're just not going to move forward and there's not going to be an obstacle. we're not the only person in the entire world. There's over 8 billion people. So there's always going to be something in our way or blocking us, or that could possibly prevent us from really achieving what we want to do. So we need to have, a plan that is going to help us learn to get around those roadblocks, right? Am I at readiness level 5? Stage 5, maintenance. You'll know if you're in this stage if you've been actively engaged in making changes for at least 6 months or more, even if it's one change. Okay, so don't think you have to do all of these things for 6 months. You can start very, 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 very small and make one change and do it over a period of 6 months. And that means you're in readiness level 5 for that particular topic, right? So if you're in this stage, then you'll want to know what are the stages of readiness for change that have really been really helpful for you, and which ones were really most challenging. This will help you maintain where you're at by understanding what your challenges are. And so, how are you holding yourself accountable to be able to maintain for so long is really what you're trying to get at, right? So if you know your challenges, you can say, well, every time I do this, I also do that. And that's what's keeping me up afloat. So this is the checkbox scale sheet. What is my readiness level? Here you will check each box that you have already passed through, and also the box for the stage that you are currently in. Pre-contemplation, I am not yet considering change. Contemplation, I started thinking about change. Preparedness, I got ready to change. Action, I began actively making changes. And maintenance, I am sustaining my changes. Now, this is printable on the website, so you can print out any of these worksheets, okay? For free. We never charge for anyone to heal, ever. So the next section is going to be the self-determination to transform. The self-determination theory was developed by Dietschy and Ryan in 1985. It proposes that humans have 3 fundamental needs that, if met, lead to intrinsic motivation, optimal functioning, and a desire for interpersonal growth. The 3 fundamental needs are relatedness, the need to connect with others, autonomy, the need to feel in control of our actions and make our own decisions, and competence, the need to have mastery over what we do. Okay? And when people feel like they have a choice, they can acknowledge their feelings and have opportunities for self-direction. Choices are found to enhance intrinsic motivation because decisions allow people a greater feeling of autonomy, right? We want to know that what we're choosing in our life to better ourselves, nutritionally and spiritually, is going to be what we choose and not somebody else. That's the best way to go about things. So let us reframe this theory into practical, motivating concepts that can really help you become successful during your transformation. Relatedness, the need to connect with others, can often be thought of as an individual needing others, right? This is a common misconception. However, you don't need to depend on anyone to make decisions for you in your life. Now, if you allow the connection to occur with someone, not because you depend on someone, but rather because you're a light in their life, then you can actually feel that positive connection. And why do we use this principle this way? It's because when others see you as a light, you are bringing in the positivity, right? You are saying, hey, let me help you out. You actually gain a sense of purpose. And thus you're encouraged to continue to build relationships based on this alignment. Autonomy, the need to feel in control over our actions, we're also going to flip this perspective. Now, one of the greatest powers that you actually have is your ability to choose. Okay, so you have free will. You can choose to let go and align spiritually and be at peace, or you can choose to continue living in Struggleville, right? And no one wants to live there. I've been to Struggleville. I was like, the mayor of Struggleville or the president of Struggleville. No one wants to do that, right? So you control what you eat, how you move, who you spend time with, and what you choose to let go of. And when you finally discover this, that it's you, okay, who are in control of your life and no one else, and that you cannot control anything else but yourself, you free yourself. And ultimately, we build autonomy by taking control over our lives. But at the same time, we are letting go of the things that we have no control over. Right? Does that make sense? So when we choose to make these changes for the better, we allow ourselves to firmly become the light we are truly meant to be. Competence is the need to have mastery over what we do, right? So that means the more you practice making these healthy decisions, the more you do, right? The more you let go, such as doing things like eating nourishing foods, walking every day, even if it's only a few steps, saying no to societal pressures, like, no, I'm not going to let you speak to me like that. Or no, I'm not going to let you convince me to do this. Or no, I'm not going to take no for an answer because I know it's possible. So I'll go somewhere else and try, right? As soon as you start to let go of what you can't control and see what you can control, which are your decisions and how you make them, whatever it is in your life that you're struggling with, maybe it's beyond nutrition, who knows? Then you can practice being at peace with it. And the more you practice being at peace with it, the stronger and more confident you're going to become, right? And thus it's easier for you to discover your greatest self, right? So I like to use diet as the example because a lot of times we try to do a lot of things at one time here. And you want to cut out gluten and milk and all of these things. And really it's very difficult because it's in every product. But if you're not willing to give up ultra processed foods, you're probably not going to maintain that goal. So it's easier to start with one thing and then work with it and be at peace with it. And then after that, you can move to the next thing. And so over time, and the more you continue doing this, the more you don't have to just manage your challenges, but the more you actually master them. And you become the master Jedi of your life, right? The Force will be with you, for you Star Wars lovers out there. So let's discuss, I'm determined to transform, but I have obstacles, right? I hear this a lot. So many people do actually know their readiness level as soon as they review the concept of the trans-theoretical model of change and its processes of change. They are even determined to change, but they are not sure what it is they want to do or where they need to start or even how to get around the obstacles, right? And this is because their spiritual alignment is it's off. They're still struggling. They're kind of like at the border of Struggleville, and they're not able to cross over into the next place. And so they just don't know how to be a light in someone's life. They've never done that before, or they don't know how to not take control of something without doing it with force, right? So they don't know how to take control gently. And they really don't know how to master a skill no one's ever really trained them before, And moreover, many people are typically frightened, right? They're frightened of the outcome, what is to be, or the decision that they're making, what will come out of it. A lot of them even lack confidence to follow through with the decisions that they do end up making, right? Like, okay, I'm going to do this, and then there's no follow through. They're procrastinating, right? And so this can really make them feel stuck or frustrated, which can usually result in giving up. And so this is the pressure we feel. So this worksheet helps us postulate 5 ways that we can remove pressure from our lives that will allow us to focus on targeting certain behaviors. So you're the expert in your life. This means you make the choices that will get you to where you want to be, and you are the one in control of your life. Therefore, you need to decide which target behaviors do you want to change, right? Start with something small. You can start with one, or maybe you're like me and you can tackle many, right? And so this sheet right here is going to help you see the broader challenges that may be apparent in your life. Now, these may not be everything in your life per se, but these are very common across many lives. And so it's good to have them on a sheet of paper so people can think about them, because many people forget, oh yeah, this is a challenge too. This is also hindering me from moving forward. So sometimes people don't realize certain things are hindrances. Another obstacle is ambivalence. And it is the most common way to be unaligned with your true inner spirit. And what do I mean when I say this exactly? So people often think of a reason to make a change, and again, they turn right back around and think of a better reason not to go through with it, right? So they talk their way out of it. They anticipate the future. What if this happens? What if that happens? I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that, okay? So this is ambivalence. And a way to target ambivalence is to think of a change that you've been really wanting to make for a long time, but haven't gone through with it because you're talking your way out of it. And then be real about it though. Ask yourself, how can I really make these assumptions, right? Why are you talking yourself out of it? What are the assumptions you're making that are preventing you from really going through with it? And so you have to tell yourself there's always a way. I'm going to stop eating dairy. There's always a way. I'm just not going to order anything with dairy on it. Or if I order food with dairy, I'm going to tell them take the cheese off. And even if they bring me a burger with cheese, I'm going to send it back if it's the last thing that I do, right? And so you need to know that there's always a way, right? And if you can't go that way, say that you're asking for them to remove the cheese and they're just not doing it, then try a different way. Just don't eat a burger with cheese on it. Eat a whole nother food item like a salad, right? That comes freshly prepared and you're like, no cheese, right? And so there's always a way. So the following questions here actually can help us target this ambivalence. So why do you want to make the change? Why haven't you made this change yet? Is there a different way to get there? What are the 3 best reasons to do it? If there are no reasons, then maybe you shouldn't be doing it, right? And how important is making this change? Next, we have what is discrepancy? So discrepancy is a precursor to inspiration. It shows us the gap between our current reality and our desired future. This awareness can really create some discomfort in some people, so to speak, but that discomfort is really what pushes us to imagine something better or to seek something greater, right? So it's getting uncomfortable that makes us want to get out of the situation. Hence, discrepancy provides motivation for change, motivation to take action. Put simply, it helps you get from where you are now to where you want to be. And why does understanding discrepancy matter? Well, when you can see this gap clearly, as we have on the slide here, it really helps you envision your path forward. When we ask, what inspires me, or what am I really compatible with? That gap turns into a vision for change. And so this way it becomes the starting point for inspiration and transformation. So here you can use the worksheet or one similar to it to write down the things that motivate and inspire you. Think about different areas of your life, health, relationships, and personal growth, and the actions that drive you forward. What inspires you to want to make successful changes? What strategies or techniques can help you facilitate this change successfully? The last obstacle we will discuss is the map for self-efficacy to help us make successful changes. So this is developed to help you understand your beliefs, okay, responsibilities that you have, and approaches towards successful transformation. To build self-efficacy, you must have belief in the possibility of change. You must also recognize accountability and that no one else but you are responsible for carrying out the change. I repeat, no one else but you are responsible for carrying out the change. Lastly, know that there are always other options or other approaches to overcome obstacles. Okay? This understanding is crucial. Because if you're always talking yourself out of it, well, I can't because of this or I can't because of that, then you're never going to get anywhere. So you need to understand that you're never stuck, never. And thinking this way can really hinder you from making successful lifestyle changes, right? There's always a way around it. It may not be the way you want it to be. But if that's the way you got to do it, then that's the way you got to do it. And there's that saying, do what you got to do, right? So, know there's always a way out, always a way around. So here are the self-determination worksheets that you can also work with. We have also included self-determination worksheets, and this is the relatedness worksheet. The relatedness worksheet just really helps you answer the question, how can building connections with others and being a source of light in their lives help me strengthen my own readiness for change, right? And the autonomy worksheet helps you answer the question, how could understanding my past give me greater control over my present choices throughout my lifestyle recovery? And the competence worksheet helps you answer the question, how could learning and practicing skills like eating healthy, micronutrient-dense food, knowing they will improve my brain function, help me build mastery and confidence throughout my lifestyle? Right? So this is key, is as we decide to really become a better person, or get out of a situation, or whatever it is, right? Whatever we're going through that's keeping us stressed out. Once we decide to do that, we need to understand that we have to eat healthy. It just doesn't matter what the situation is. You have to always eat healthy, because improving your brain health is really going to help you organize tasks, have a better attention span, help see things very clearly and vividly for what they really are. This is imperative, especially when I'm teaching nutrition. You have to know that you have to continue to eat healthy. So let's wrap this gig up. Of course, now that we've explored the trans-theoretical model, stages of change, and the self-determination theory, we see that lasting change transformation comes from readiness, right? Understanding where you are in your life's journey. Relatedness, connecting meaningfully with others because you are the light in their life and not because you're dependent on them, right? And autonomy, making intentional, truthful choices to let go of things that don't align with your spirituality. And competence, building mastery through practice. These tools are really going to help you transform your perspective so you can approach life from clarity and peace rather than struggle, right? So the next step here is to move forward. We need to understand your past, and we need to see where you've been. And this is going to allow you to really see a clearer path forward. So that is why in Module 2, we talk about timeline development. It's really going to help you map your journey and reflect on patterns and plan your path with insights and purpose. Thank you so much. True Paleo Inc. wants to thank you for your interest in using our self-directed Discover Your Greatest Self programs for your lifestyle and nutritional needs. The expert you can trust, Dr. Hollywood.